What's up guys, I'm BTC. If you've been waiting for a new and improved practice range, well wait no more, because not only do we have a new one, we've got several. Gotta be totally honest with you guys, I am genuinely excited for some of the stuff that I've just recently seen in the workshop. It's fairly safe to say that the default training range is pretty bad. You can use it to warm up, kind of, but beyond that, it's pretty worthless. If you wanted to practice, you could try a custom game, throw in a bunch of bots, but that's not really all that good either. Up until now, the best thing that you could do to practice your aim in Overwatch was to actually go outside of the game and use a third-party program like Aim Hero. But that all changed with the addition of the workshop, because now we have these really awesome training maps that are going to help you dramatically improve your aim. I'm going to show you 3 of them, and then I'm going to explain why you need to practice in these isolated environments and why deathmatch by itself is just not good enough. This first map is the Advanced Training Range by HeroCod. The code for it is 2B216. Now, in addition to loading up the map, you also have to add some bots on the enemy team. You have to add 3 hard AI Lucio, 2 hard AI Ana, and 1 easy AI Zenyatta. When you join the game, you're going to pick the character that you want to practice. You end up in this spawn area. There's all this stuff going on. There's 3 main things that we want to pay attention to. You've got the Lucio kill, the Tracer game, and then the Ana jump. So we're going to start with the Lucio kill. This is effectively the same thing that we've had in the past, where you have a custom game, you throw in a bunch of hard AI bots, and they just kind of move around. So we've already had this in the past. The difference is that they're confined to this area, and they're going to skate on the walls and on the statue, and you just try to shoot them as they move around. It's just simple, and it's what we've had before. Now, the next thing is the Tracer game, and this is going to help you with a couple of different things. So I'm going to start the game, and you're going to notice that the Zenyatta is going to start teleporting around. So there's a few different ways that you can do this. So you can either kind of stand near the center in that area, and you just want to flick in order to get the Zenyatta as they're moving around. I mean, you certainly can do that. It's practice to kind of emulate what happens when a Tracer is blinking around. Or you could even stand over here and just use it as normal flick training. So as the Zenyatta is going around, you try to get him. Let me see if I can grab him. There, you got him. So it's just like a reaction time thing. You're just trying to get him as fast as you can. So there's kind of a multi-purpose to this. I don't know if the maker of the map actually intended for that, but it's a neat little extra that you can use it for as well. Now, the third thing is the Ana jump, and I'm going to grab the fly status for this one, and you'll see why in a second. In order to fly, you have to just press jump, and then crouch makes you go down. The only problem is you kind of keep your momentum when you're flying, so you can't really stop in the air. We're going to teleport over to here, and you're going to see a couple of things. So you have the Ana just going up and down, very predictable. Same thing with that Ana, it's an arc. It's very predictable. That isn't the training mode, though. You want to start the dodge game here, and what's going to happen is now the Ana goes up in a random way, and they have kind of like a supercharged Hanzo mid-air leap where they just zip off to a different direction. So this is really good for practicing against a Pharah and a Mercy that are up in the air. Now, the reason why I picked up the fly is because if you want something that's a little bit more kind of for regular attacks, you can fly up into the air like this, and just kind of position your... Again, you do kind of float around a little bit, but you can just kind of position yourself like this, and then you can practice on a more level area with these Anas that are zipping around. So you get the idea. Now, the problem with this particular map is that in addition to loading it, you also have to add all of the enemy AI on the other team. It's not a super big deal, but it is kind of annoying every time you want to train. It's not any fault on the creator of the map, it's just the way that the Blizzard lobbies work. So unless they add an option to allow the creator to just automatically add AI on the enemy team, then it's going to constantly be like this. But there is actually another method, and that's when you use generated objects, and that's what we're going to see in the next 2 maps that I'm going to show you. This next map is simply called Aim Practice by xxHarambexx, and the code for it is 76WH 2, you don't need to add any bots. You can just launch it as is. And there's no introduction or anything, so we're just going to start it up, and I'll show you how it works. It's on the Hanamura map. The only character you can play is McCree. When you go in, just press the button for your flashbang. It's going to teleport you. Again, it doesn't tell you this. You just have to kind of figure it out. And when you turn to the right, you'll notice this big sparkly orb, which kind of has like a circle inside of it. And then on the top left, there are 3 numbers. The yellow one is for your hits. The purple one is for your misses. And then the red is the percentage of all of your hits and misses. So the point of this particular trainer is for flick practice. You're not supposed to slowly move over to it and then track it and then shoot it. You're supposed to very quickly move up to it. So one of the things about flick practice is generally you want to reset to a neutral position, which is just kind of right in front of you. So you're going to stay here and then you flick up and you try to hit it. Like that. So that's what the flick practice is. Now, you could do it another way where you flick up to the target itself, you hit it, and then you flick down to the next target, and you can just keep flicking Now, here's the thing. You're going to miss a lot, and that's okay. But once you miss, like if you go over here and you miss, reset back to that neutral position. Reset back to that neutral position. Overall, this is a great map. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of improvements in the future. I would recommend giving infinite ammo just so you don't have to worry about that sort of stuff. But there is a third map that I want to show you. Let's go to that one. This third map is called Aim Trainer. It's made by PMAJellies. The code for it is WRP63. And this one reminds me of exactly what I used to use in CSGO. I've been waiting for something like this to be added to Overwatch for so long. All right, so here's how this one works. For some reason, you always have to start as Ashe. I don't know if it's a limitation with the way game mode works or something like that, but you start as Ashe, but you can immediately change your hero by just clicking on heroes, and then you can go here and change it to whatever you want. You can change it to Soldier, change it to McCree, whatever. Then you click Ready, and it takes you back. Now, there are some bugs with this game mode, and sometimes it just kind of breaks. If that happens, just reset it, restart the lobby. It's not really that big of a deal. It's still a really effective aim trainer and still gonna help you quite a bit. I'm sure the guy will fix the bugs sooner or later. So there's 2 different training modes. You have the triple dot, which if you just click the start here, it'll show you the 3 different dots. You click on them, and as you attack them, they go away. Now the point is to flick between them as fast as you can and just keep getting faster and faster. You obviously have the score on the top and the timer, so you can see if you're improving and all that sort of stuff. So you can click the try again and it'll take you back here. Now the other game mode, I'm actually gonna switch to Ashe because for some reason McCree seems to bug on that other game mode. So I'm gonna go to targets here, and you have 1, 2, and 3, and this is the difficulty for these targets. So I'm gonna change it to 1, and then I'm gonna start it. And you can see that it puts these little dots here, and the goal is once more to just hit them as soon as they appear. But unlike the triple dot, they will vanish after a second or so, right? So if I want to restart, you can click over here. And now let me show you the level 3 and show you how fast this is. Look at how fast those disappear. So this is going to help you a lot with that reflex training. Don't feel bad if you can't get the number 3 right away because it's really, really difficult. So I would recommend starting with 1, try to get that knocked down, and then move to the 2, and then move to the 3. But like I said, for some reason, let me show you. I'm going to switch it over to McCree, and then I'm going to try this. I'm going to switch it to 1 and then try to start it. Oh, it did actually work. It always breaks for me in the other recordings that I tried to make. Anyways, if you're the maker of this, just check it out because sometimes it bugs for some reason. I don't know why. Like, it just wouldn't let me select it. So let me actually switch back. Oh, yeah, there it goes. So there's one of the bugs right there. So it just, you know, it's got that stuff going on. I switched to target. I can't even attack the targets right now. Like, it's just bugged. So I have to switch it back here and then go there and see if I can start it. Okay, so it did. But as you can see, there are a couple of bugs in it. Otherwise, the training mode works great. So this is going to be something really good. So any of these 3 maps that I just showed you are amazingly good for helping you to improve your aim. Now that I've shown you those maps, I want to talk to you about why using these maps is so good, and why deathmatch is not just the only thing you should be using. So here's the deal. There's a process that teachers, professors, instructors, trainers, and coaches use the world over called crawl, walk, run. The concept is, if you're trying to teach someone something that's kind of complicated, it's a lot easier and it's faster for them to get proficient if you break it down to its fundamental parts. So for example, if you're trying to teach someone painting, you don't just all of a sudden have them trying to emulate a Picasso or anything like that. What you do is you start with the crawl phase, where you teach them about basic colors and shapes. Then the walk phase would be taking those basic things that they learned, combining them with other things, and trying to create something a little more complicated and elaborate. Then, when they're ready, you can take everything that they've learned and put it into the run phase, which is the final project. Now, if you're struggling with any one particular aspect, you go back to the crawl phase and you practice just that in an isolated environment. That's why, for example, if a basketball player is having a tough time getting a three-pointer from a specific spot, you don't have him practice it in just a game or in a scrim or anything like that. You sit that basketball player on that spot and you have him keep throwing the ball again and again, hundreds and hundreds of times, until it becomes just instinct and natural. You don't even have to think about it. He just puts the ball up and it goes right in. And it's the same thing in an FPS game. You can't just put someone in deathmatch and expect them to improve their aim, because deathmatch is not a crawl phase, it's a walk phase, because you have a bunch of different elements all together. You have your aim, plus the abilities, plus movement, plus other players. And also there's a bit of downtime. You have to move around the map to try to find targets, and when you get killed, even though the spawn is quick, you still have to wait. So you're not able to do what I just showed you in that aim practice map, where you can just constantly practice that flick, left, right, up, down, all that sort of stuff. Same thing with the first map that I showed you. You can just practice that in an isolated environment, and you do it until you get so proficient you don't even need to think about it. Then you take that aim that you've just mastered, you bring it into deathmatch, which is the walk phase, and then you add those other elements. And once you're good enough with that, then you can move into the run, which is the final version of the game. In this case, it would be competitive. Unfortunately, there are a lot of wannabe coaches in Overwatch who don't understand this process. Now, it might sound like I'm actually pretty familiar with it. Why is that? Because I was in the Army for 8 years. When I was a very young soldier, fresh into the Army, they used all of these crawl, walk, run to teach me first aid, fitness, weapons, my equipment, all that other stuff. And then, as the years went by, when I gained rank, it was my turn to train the younger soldiers. And this is what we use, the crawl, walk, run method. And I can tell you that this is used not just by the US military, but by teachers, coaches, trainers, instructors the world over. This is why you need stuff like these game modes that I showed you. You have to break it down to its most fundamental level so that you can practice and learn the things to an instinctive level where you don't need to think about it. Go to the crawl first, then walk, then run, and that's how you rank up in Overwatch. But that's going to be all for this one. I strongly encourage you guys, if you're on PC, go and check out these maps on the PTR. They're really good. I can't wait to see what other creators are able to do and the new types of training modes that we can have. We don't need Blizzard to fix the training range, because now we got this. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.